Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
Hello, all. What is going on? How y'all doing on this early Sunday afternoon? This is the Club of the Man 1993, and this is my review of this past Friday night's episode of Friday Night SmackDown. It was the October 23rd, 2023. No, I got it right. No, 20th. October 20th, 2023 edition of SmackDown. And it took place in San Antonio, Texas, which is a very nice city. Again, I've been there once before. I definitely recommend checking it out if you have not done so already. So definitely check it out if you ever would like to, of course, do. Yeah, we're going to talk about what happened on the show, of course, as always. As far as my overall thoughts on the show, last week's episode of SmackDown, again, I remember I came out confused. And Raw this week kind of eased up some of those confusions. And SmackDown this week, for the most part, didn't confuse me. So I gave it a slight bit higher. I wanted to give it the same grade I gave it last week originally. But I gave it just a slight bit higher because some things were starting to make sense for me. Doesn't mean I liked everything I saw. There was a few little nitpicks I have I want to talk about. But it was still a good show. We got basically the hype for the official of the main event for Crown Jewel, which is going to be Roman Reigns and LA Knight. By the way, last I checked, my Crown Jewel match card already has over 500 views. Thank you again very much, guys, for the good start to that. I do hope that one gets either as many as the Fastlane card or more. I'm hoping for more. But again, it is nice to see those match cards again. As of now, it has 537 views. It is nice to see those match cards get back up on views again. And I also finally finished everything involving the worst matches of all time video. I have an idea for a possible next, it was actually an idea I was suggested. But of course, I gotta get the planning and whatnot done with it first. So hopefully it does go through. So I will, of course, address that in the future video. But yeah, thank you guys again for continued support. Again, we are on the road to 2,000 subscribers. And again, we are, last I checked, in 56, I think it was, away from 2,000 subscribers. Again, the goal is to get that by the end of the year. Let's hope it happens. And of course, I got video game stuff I'm working on still too in the background. Again, Roller Coaster Tycoon still going on. I got the, I want to get ready to do Return to Danger. I've had the itch to maybe start doing some baseball, besides the baseball news, like my custom baseball players I haven't touched for a long time. Having the itch to do stuff with that again. So again, still fun stuff coming to the channel as always. But anyways, talk about SmackDown. But anyways, yeah, the Crown Jewel main event was made official with Roman Reigns and LA Knight. Well, the contract sign is going to be next week. And all that happened this week was they just typed up a contract sign. Basically, it's official, blah, blah, blah. LA Knight got some time on the microphone. Yeah! And a few matches. We had a nice little story progression with Jimmy and Jey Uso also on the show. And a nice little seed plan I felt between general managers. That has me a little more intrigued for Survivor Series also. We also had the women's main event, which was the women's title match. We'll talk about that and the return that happened as well. But again, I liked it. A couple little concerns I'm going to express. But I liked it. Again, I didn't leave this episode of SmackDown feeling confused like I did the previous week on the season premiere. But anyways, we're going to roll in. We're going to talk about it. And we're going to get out of here. So the show opened up. Oh, yeah, also, I forgot too. We did have another match made official. A certain somebody that I still don't like. But yeah, I knew he would be there. We'll talk about him. So we open up the show with Paul Heyman in the ring. He talks up Jimmy Uso for costing Jay and Cody the tag titles on Raw. And he claims he was running Roman's play. He also mentions how Roman Reigns will be defending the title against LA Knight at Crown Jewel. It says it'll be the last time you'll get to see him wrestle because LA Knight will get smashed by Roman Reigns. Which now brings Mr. LA Knight. Yeah! He comes out and he gets his usual shtick. Let me talk to you! Mr. Heyman, he berates him for his threats and demands that tells him to his face what Roman Reigns is going to do to him. Heyman begs off and tries to leave, but Knight tells him to get your ass back in the ring. He was very aggressive. Like there was not much really they could do in this promo. It was more so just to, say, yeah, the match's official, we're going to sign the contract, but LA Knight was still trying to squeeze any juices to make out of this promo to make it more interesting. But anyways, he tells him, get your ass back in the ring before he knocks his hair back to gray. He talks about the spear that he got from Roman. And he says, do you think that was the right move? And Knight says he doesn't do warning shots because he'll pull a Michael Myers on him if he keep coming back. And he won't stop until he owns Roman Reigns in the ring and wins the WWE Universal Championship. As fast as he's risen WWE, is the fast he'll take that title off of him. He catches Heyman saying he hates the yeah and makes him do it before calling him pathetic. He says they're going to have a contract signed next week. And if Heyman's going to talk to Roman about that signing, make it absolutely clear whose game this is. And when Roman looks a little confused and lost for words, make sure you speak the truth. That is L.A. Knight. Yeah! Good promo. Like I said, it was a great... Again, I do like, of course, also, you see... Again, I've said this for a long time. For a couple years now, what I just felt that the WWE was missing in their characters, mainly because of course Vince McMahon, but is the fact that this fire in them, desiring to be the best, fire and desire. I just thought of the old tag team with Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. By the way, prayers for Mandy Rose. I did see on Instagram today that her grandmother unfortunately passed away. So thoughts and prayers to her family definitely during this time. But again, I like that this fire that LA Knight's bring out. Like, he's serious. Again, the part that's going to suck is that I'm pretty sure and all the rest of us are pretty sure he's not going to win. But again, it's a thing where he gets that shot. He proves he can be in the main event. And in a way, it's like you're hoping he gets even more over in the loss. Again, the only thing I worry about is they've done that with Drew McIntyre. They've done that with Sami Zayn. They've done that, Cody Rhodes, but again, there's a long-term story for his and whatnot. How many more of these are you going to do before it becomes the same thing? That's just what I'm wondering what they're going to do. But again, I have the faith in Triple H. He's got the script in his hand now. Vince McMahon has no hands on that script as far as I know. So we'll see where it goes. But again, this should be a pretty good main event for Crown Jewel in a couple weeks. I think it's less than 2 weeks, I believe it is. But Anyways, moving on though, we have backstage with Bobby Lashley motivating the Street Profits. And they get ready as Montez Ford has a match with Santos Escobar. It was a pretty good match. Gosh, again, I just keep thinking, again, I'm interested. I'm still a little confused after that loss at Fastlane. But again, Montez Ford, again, just... he's so good. He is so freaking good. And I still think back to that performance he had at the Elimination Chamber. But he already feels like, I mean, the Street Profits in general feel like they are really excelling in this heel role. But him and Santos had a really, really good match. And Montez gets the win. Afterwards, though, Ford and Dawkins beat down Escobar 2-on-1 until Carlito makes the save with a steel chair in hand. The direction that they're going is Carlito versus Bobby Lashley. Which, okay, we'll see how that goes. I'm just not sure if it's... I mean, do you want to see Carlito lose, though? I feel like he would be... okay taking a loss. Because I just don't feel like Bobby Lashley should be losing right now. Especially if he's trying to build up a new dominating stable. He should be winning. So I guess Carlito will be okay, but we'll see. Also, I'm sorry. Why did we have to change his music? I still wish they would have kept his old music, but whatever. We have LW at doors chatting backstage. Rey Mysterio is getting ready to confront the man who called him out recently, Logan Paul. Yeah, I know, my buddy. And Zelina Vega asks if he wants help. And then he goes, I gotta do this on my own today. Which seemed to have bothered the LWO a little bit. Is that, again, just the planting of the seed, possibly, for that eventual moment where LWO turns on Rey? Let's wait and see. We have a weird vignette with Pretty Deadly having a spa day together until the Brawling Brutes interrupt. Haven't we seen... I know I said last week... look, let me just say this. I'm repeating myself right now. Sorry. Let me just say this. I said last week, Pretty Deadly are still growing on me. I still... Again, they seem like the team that they're trying to rely on, showing that they're great with psychology. I can see where they're great with psychology in their matches and whatnot. Their gimmick, again, is still not really... I don't know. I'm still not a fan of it. But, again, I don't want to completely say they're trash. But can we at least do something different than, how many times have we seen them fight the Brawling Brutes? I think a little too many, huh? Can we at least give them new opponents? Please. So that happened. We got Jimmy Uso, thinks he's the shit, rolling up on Paul Heyman solo, crowing about how he cost his brother the tag titles by executing Roman's plan. He's like, yeah, you know what I did? I executed his plan. Acting like the spoiled, rotten prick who deserves to be rewarded. Again, because he just thinks he's the shit. He thinks he's, he thinks he's got nothing stopping him. And he thinks that he can't be touched, basically. But I do like how they kind of further their story in a second here. Because after this, we got Mr. The greatest of all time, John Cena. Again, don't agree with that phrase, but again, one of the greatest of all time. He comes out. He talks about how fired up he is, and he mentioned, though, it's been a rough day. He got hit with some pretty harsh truths today. He talked about Roman having a great streak as champion last week of over 1,100 days. Well, today he realized a streak of his own. As of Friday, it had been, and this is unreal to hear also, I know he's barely on TV anymore because of, Hollywood, but this is still crazy. John Cena has not won a singles. Again, the past two matches he's been a part where he's won. He's been in a tag team. But he has not won a singles televised match in 2,000 2 days. And the last time that was at the Greatest Royal Rumble back in 2018 when he beat Triple H. And I think that was the opening match of that show, if I'm not mistaken. But he says that that's quite a while. And he's been talking for a whole while about retirement. And it's just time to face the facts. It's been a long time since he's had a singles win. But he believes in himself and in us and the beauty that is all this madness. And he thinks he can still go. He can still bring it. And the time is now to turn the math around. So it's going to be a bad night for the next idiot brave enough to walk through that curtain. And whoever it is going to get smoked. Typical, hype stuff. Like, I thought at first they're trying to basically do the same thing they did with Sting on Dynamite. This past week on Dynamite, Sting announced that his retirement match is going to be at Revolution 2024. So I thought at first, okay, is this them trying to, one-up Sting? But I don't think so. But anyways, SIkoa walks out. Which, after this segment, I'm assuming they're not going to have... Because again, I predicted in my Crown Jewel card a triple threat with Cody and Jay, Judgment Day, and Jimmy and Solo, the triple threat for the tag titles. Because I really thought that maybe they put the tag titles back on Jimmy and Solo. Because Jimmy needs a win. Jimmy really needs a win. Because right now, to me, he's all talk, but he loses. But anyways, speaking of which, SIkoa comes out. So again, it looks like they're going to be doing John Cena and SIkoa now at Crown Jewel instead of him and Karrion Kross. Okay, fine. I mean, if they want to give Cena that victory, fine. But Solo comes out, and he goes to jump Cena. But then Jimmy comes out of nowhere and starts attacking 2-on-1. And it's overwhelming Cena until a masked man comes out and yanks Jimmy out of the ring and punches him in the face. And then the masked man takes it off, and it's main event Jey Uso, who reveals himself. And he goes after his brother and sends him over the Timekeeper's barricade with a super kick. And then Cena takes out Solo with an AA. But then after this, which first we had a vignette for Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Where the hell have they been? And they call out the tag champs Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. Again, where the heck have they been? And we're going to talk about the women's division at the end of this review, when we get to the main event. But anyways, so after that, this is probably believe it or not, this is probably my favorite segment of the night. We had Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis, Raw and SmackDown GMs backstage with Jay and security. And Jay's telling security, don't touch me, don't touch me. Nick Aldis finds Jey Uso $10,000 for crashing SmackDown. And then Adam Pearce is like, whoa. If you're going to fine him $10,000 for crashing your show, you better be fining Jimmy for crashing my show. Which, first off, it's good to see them actually, addressing people crashing shows and not just show for no reason. Because, again, there is a brand split right now. But then, originally Nick Aldis was going to fine Jay $10,000 and to have him escorted out by security. And then when Adam Pearce makes that comment, Nick goes, you know what? You're right. Security, please escort Jey Uso and Adam Pearce out of the building. Adam's like, you kicking me out of this building? And then Nick's like, I sure am. So last week, when it seemed like there was friendly competition, whenever they shook on and said, look forward to some good competition between brands. Ooh! I've heard rumors like earlier it was advised that Survivor Series when Vince was around was going to be brand versus brand, which again is stupid. But now hearing there's still going to be War Games. If they want to mix War Games with some brand versus brand, and but like again, not like. If they want to do a champion versus champion match, I'm cool if they do Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. Like, if they want to do that, I'm cool with it. But if you want to do like some brand versus brand, like have some mix of Raw and SmackDown and War Games, or do a match that seeing this segment has me wondering, eventually we're going to do Jimmy and Jay at WrestleMania. But they might have to do it also at Survivor Series also. They could do Jimmy versus Jay there as well, and Jimmy gets a win. Because long-term wise, Jimmy needs something. Because right now, like I said, Jimmy is all talk. And I've been saying too that, and I think I've come to this conclusion, that I think the storyline with Jimmy would work better if the bloodline wasn't like involved somehow. Because with the bloodline involved in it, it just feels like there's a bunch of holes every week that's being more exposed. If this has nothing to do with Roman Reigns involved, then I think this will work better. But like a Jimmy versus Jay match at Survivor Series, I think could work. Make sure War Games in there. Like again, you can do some Raw versus SmackDown. Just to make it so bland, like, okay, we gotta pick these teams to represent Raw, these people represent SmackDown. And it's like, but again, you just get bragging rights if you win. You can only do it maybe like once or twice. Especially because if it's the same stars, just the brands being rotated. That's boring. But if you have actual stories, then it's not boring. Like Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, they have a history. Roman Reigns has never beaten Seth Rollins on a one-on-one pay-per-view match. And as I said months ago when I did my little short explaining about how Paul Heyman's the one that needs removed from Roman Reigns' equation because he's his Nagini to be able for Cody to take out Roman. Because again, long-term wise, Paul Heyman, and to me, is still the reason why Cody Rhodes didn't win the title at WrestleMania 39. So, and again, also, the only match Roman Reigns did not pin someone to win was when he fought Seth Rollins at the 2022 Rumble, and that's when him and Heyman had briefly broken up. See my point? You see my point? Like there's a story there. Jimmy and Jay, there's a story. War Games, there'll be a story. Again, you can mix in War Games, some brand versus brand matches, if there's a story. So this segment right here got me hyped for Survivor Series. So I'm interested to see where this goes for sure. And then we have Logan Paul, the Maverick, coming out like he's so cool. Like, oh, I won my fight. And it was a pathetic excuse for a fight. But he should have known if he wanted a real competition, he should have just had another WWE match. But even though he's already beaten Rey Mysterio, the last time he beat Rey, Dominic was his son. And a lot's changed. He's gotten his life figured out. He's a WWE superstar. Baby. He's engaged. So he's not here for Rey. But he has something that Rey wants. And that is his U.S. title. Rey comes out. And Rey first off says, Logan, you remind me of Dominic. Dripping with passion, incredible career ahead, and a big mouth. Oh, if you want that title so bad, I'll give you the shot of Crown Jewel. So we got Logan Paul and Rey Mysterio for the U.S. title crown jewel. Again, like I said, if they want to put a mid-card title on Logan Paul, I'm okay with it. Again, I don't like Logan Paul, but again, he's a good wrestler. I can understand. My only gripe is again, I just don't want him going another 3 months and not coming on the show and defending it. You know, I don't want that. Of course, I did think, the long-term plan was for Santos Escobar eventually to be the one to dethrone Rey. Unless the Santos dethrones Logan. Or, thought just popped in my head. What if Logan Paul does win the U.S. title, what if the person who took the title off of him? Because I thought, until they did the match with Ricochet, I thought this was going to be the match for SummerSlam. What if Logan Paul wins the title and the person who dethrones him for the title is L.A. Knight? Yeah! If that's the long-term plan, I'm okay with this. I just don't want to see Logan Paul not defend the title for another 3 months. You know, like have him defend it at Survivor Series and maybe at Royal Rumble, or Survivor Series and Elimination Chamber. Don't just win the title here and not defend it again until WrestleMania. That's too long. That's my only gripe, because Triple H, I mean, I know it's been damaged since Vince came in, but when Triple H first took over, he put a lot of time in making Bobby Lashley with the United States title and Gunther with the Intercontinental title. He put a lot of pride in making those titles workhorse championships. So I would just hate to see a mid-card title, like the U.S. title, be taken and not defended again for months. Yes, I get it. It's made by a heel. He was supposed to do that, but still. Don't do that. Because right now, especially too, SmackDown's roster is thinner than Raw's. And I feel like that because of Roman Reigns being champion. You don't want both belts on SmackDown barely being defended. So, and also, I think Logan's supposed to be on Raw this week too. Why he's coming to Raw, I don't know. But that could be the long-term match. Logan Paul versus LA Knight, and LA Knight takes the title off of Logan Paul. May have solved a possibility for after WrestleMania, or after Logan loses. I might have to tweet about that. We'll see. But, okay, so we got that. We have Austin Theory and Grayson Waller taking on Dragon Lee, who officially is moved over to the SmackDown roster on the card, on the website. So I guess he's officially called up. Awesome. He was teaming up with Mr. Cameron Grimes. Woo! To the moon. Good to see Cameron Grimes get some more TV time again. He lost, unfortunately, but it's good to see them get him back on TV. I'm pretty sure Triple H has an eventual plan for him, and he's got to keep getting him on TV to get the exposure. So yeah, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, which I'm still not the big on Grayson Waller, but I do like whenever he comes out, his energy is like, and I know it. I still even like Austin Theory's entrance with the camera coming down, back turned down, the lights. Again, the characters, but a couple little tidbits I'll give them credit for. But yeah, they won. Even though, shouldn't they be upset though because they lost their match for the tag titles last week? But I think they're still the greatest tag team of all time. Little confusing, don't you think? But whatever. Then we have an interview with Kevin Owens. It was taped before the show, sitting in the crowd. KO says doesn't feel great being separated from Sammy after they worked so hard to get where they got together, and separated without a fair shot. Again, their tag titles belts back hurts, but it's a clean slate to be back on SmackDown, so it's bittersweet. He has a lot of history with the bloodline, and he knows he will cross paths with them again. He's never had a singles match with Rey Mysterio, or with Sheamus, or the Brawler Brutes, or the LWO. So there's a lot of new faces for him to punch. And he offers to punch people for Kathy Kelly, and says she has to be unbiased as a journalist. And she admits that now Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, they have punchable faces. So he puts them on the list and says he just wants people to go home from SmackDown knowing that this is the Kevin Owens show. So, not as much of a... The interest from this interview didn't pop me as much as from Sammy's promo on Monday, but again, we'll see. Like, I do think, again, not saying that, it's not interesting, but I think things are going to have a different feel for SmackDown once Roman drops the belt to Cody at WrestleMania. Which, again, if that does happen, we'll still figure it out. But we'll see what happens with KO on SmackDown. I'm pretty sure, though, if there's a War Games match, he's going to be involved in it somehow. I think that I feel like the direction they're going to go with Kevin Owens is that he's on his own again, so he's just going to take the ball and do what he has to do. And that could be the story for him getting in the Survivor Series for War Games. We'll see, though. And then after a million hype commercials for SmackDown being on FS1 next week, here comes our main event. Io Sky and Charlotte Flair. As soon as I saw that this match was going to be the main event, I thought for sure Charlotte was winning that belt. Because I thought for sure last Friday, when the match is official, then she runs into Jade Cargill. But as he even showed on Raw this week, Jade Cargill's whereabouts of what brand she's going to be on is still unclear. And of course, when I saw this main event, I'm like, oh, they're giving the belt back to Charlotte. Well, the match first off was good. It was better than the triple threat matches we've been getting on pay-per-view. Which, speaking of which, hopefully they're not set up for another one because of what happened after the match. But anyways, there was a couple close covers. I thought that Charlotte was about to win with a spear. But then Bayley put Io's foot on the ropes. And then off a distraction, Charlotte went for a spear again. But while the referee was distracted, Io took the title belt and held it on her stomach. So that way when Charlotte speared her, she speared the belt instead of Io. So Io cheated again to win. I'm not sure. I just don't feel like Io needs to be cheating to win matches. If she was on her own, maybe, but in a stable, it's like, I don't know. Like you saw the match she had with Bianca at Backlash earlier this year. She doesn't need to cheat to win. Again, not all heels have to cheat to win. But I was glad to get the belt on Io, but what happened afterwards, again, is just showing still how thin SmackDown's roster is. Actually, believe it or not, while I'm talking, I'm going to pull up the roster for SmackDown. And we're going to see what women are on SmackDown. Because again, after seeing Raw this week, and again, credit to just Alex for pointing this out, how they're having they've established 5 women in the main event scene. I don't like them all. Nia Jax. They have a direction for their lower cards, but they're using Becky Lynch as NXT Women's Champion to showcase these other women and giving them a direction as well, like a Tegan Nox or an Indy Hartwell, or I guess a Xia Li as well too. I don't know, but here's all the women that's on SmackDown. Alba Fire, who has not been seen on TV besides these vignettes since her and Isla Dawn dropped the tag titles. Asuka. B-Fab, who doesn't really wrestle. Bayley. Bianca Belair. Charlotte Flair. Dakota Kai, who's still out hurt. Isla Dawn, the champ, Io Sky, Mia Yim. They could do more with her. Definitely do more with her. Shotzi Blackheart, Tamina, and Zelina Vega. That's a very thin roster. And most of them are heels, or people who should be turning heel, such as a Charlotte Flair or a Bianca Belair. But after the match is over, Damage Control goes to attack Charlotte. But returning after a couple of months off is Bianca Belair. She comes out and basically runs them all off, hits the KOD on Io. I'm sorry. Io goes on a KOD, but Bayley barely saved Io from it, and Bianca hits a KOD on Bayley instead. And then Bianca and Charlotte fist bump to end the show. Are they going to do Io and Bianca in a rematch? Because technically, the person Io dethroned at SummerSlam was Bianca. Because Bianca won her third title and then Io cashed in and won after that. Look, Charlotte Flair and Bianca Belair are both fabulous, talented women. But both of them are just so stale with the characters they have. Like, I was hoping when Bianca came back, she would have immediately turned heel and joined up with Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. Because we all know she's married to Montez Ford. It looks like that's going to be, that they're waiting on that. So she needs that. That's an easy fix right there. Charlotte, though. She's bland as a babyface. And I feel like I get the same thing out of her as a heel. But again, the simplest way to make Charlotte interesting again, get her involved in non-title feuds. Because again, being the one who just shows up to get title shots and has no other story to her character, more and more fans are going to not want to see her win the belt again. Like, do I think she deserves to win the belt again? Absolutely. But, like, if they want to do her and Bianca, there doesn't have to be a title involved. Like, heck, let's put it this way. The simplest story for a non-title feud with Charlotte and Bianca could just simply be the fact that both of them feel like they belong at the top, but there's only room for one of them at the top. Who is that person? Get a win there. And then you could do a title feud. Or, I don't know, just something else. Because again, Charlotte, again, like if they just keep giving Charlotte random title matches, first off, why is anybody supposed to want to cheer for someone who just feels like they're entitled to get title matches? And again, we're still going to get the same crap we get every time with Charlotte Flair. She desperately needs a character change. And she desperately also needs to have some sort of like non-title feuds, develop other talent. You know, because again, like, who else is there to fight Io? I mean, we can do her and Asuka again one-on-one, but do it on pay-per-view. We can bring back Kairi Sane and do that match. Hell, we could do, like, if they would give her a shot, her and Alba Fire. Io Sky, Alba Fire, sure, something different. Well, they would call her Kaylee Ray, but she's still with Isla Dawn, so there's still the Hex Girls and whatnot. I mean, well, also, too, if they would turn both Charlotte and Bianca heel, then somebody's got to turn face. Because there's no other... It's like, well, Asuka's a face right now, but she's all back and forth. Her character's out of whack. I think someone... Again, like, Io. I think Io needs to turn face. In a stable as a steel stablemate, I don't know. But, and also, if they, well, I know a lot of people also think, and I agree that Bayley, it's about time we make Bayley a face again, which I do agree. But I think you eventually first do have to do Bayley and Io. And I think the simple story could be, and this is me, again, realizing something that wasn't working, but long-term wise, there's a way it could work. Because if you remember, when Bayley never won the women's title, I already thought that Damage Control was damaged goods. But you call it the simple way. Bayley was not able to succeed as the leader of Damage Control, getting the title. But she's jealous because Io was the one who became the most successful in the group. Or something along the lines like that. But again, just especially after seeing how much more stacked that Raw Women's division is. This main event match, and seeing, of course, Bianca return, which, is good to see her back, but this SmackDown Women's division is so small. They gotta find some way to make it more interesting. Because if not, this is how it's gonna be until the next draft. So, we'll see. Or, heck, if you want another babyface, call up Roxanne Perez. What are they waiting for with Roxanne Perez? I would still say add in Cora Jade, but I think they're probably going to keep Cora Jade a heel for now. But yeah, you want a fresh babyface on SmackDown, put Roxanne Perez on the roster. But we'll see what happens down the line. And that's SmackDown, guys. I gave it a B. I mean, I didn't really rant as much. I more so just nitpick and said how I improved things. But again, stuff like this is fun. Again, I love that these reviews are getting longer. I wish that I would, find some way to make it easier for me to do live streams. But then again, I find it easier just for me to record it first. That way I can upload it when I have the time. And just do the pay-per-view stuff live. But again, if I can ever find some way to consistently review them live again, I would love to. Because right now, again, these shows are very talkable. There's stuff to talk about, and I love that. So, I gave SmackDown a B this week. What are your guys' thoughts on SmackDown? The teases for Survivor Series, or even WrestleMania. The thoughts on the lacking of depth in the women's division. Jimmy and Jay. The stuff with Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce. And, of course, the main event of Crown Jewel, Roman Reigns and L.A. Knight. Yeah! And also my thoughts on if they do put the U.S. title Logan Paul, should they have, since L.A. Knight probably will not win against Roman Reigns, what the long-term plan is for L.A. Knight to dethrone Logan Paul. Because they kind of have a history based off the promo battles they had leading up to the Money in the Bank ladder match. I'm going to tweet about that. I am seriously going to tweet about that and see if I get a response on that. But yeah, that's my thoughts. What are your guys' thoughts on SmackDown again? Leave your guys' thoughts down in the comments section below. Be sure as always to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel. Follow me on Twitter at the Club of the Man 93. Also follow me on TikTok and Instagram at the Club of the Man 1993. And until then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll catch you guys all later. Have a great rest of your Sunday. And do not forget, in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. And for I am the man himself. And that is not just an opinion. That is a fact of life. Yeah!